welcome to my persuasive speech on why college athletes should get paid. The topic of whether or not college athletes should be paid has been an ongoing debate. College athletes are considered to be amateurs, and according to the NCAA, it says it's crucial to preserve an academic environment in which acquiring a quality education is the first priority. The definition of an amateur is someone who does something for enjoyment. College athletes do play their sports for enjoyment, but it takes a toll on them and also on their personal money. I'm a college athlete myself. I played Division I FBS football. Coming from a college athlete, I can tell you that even though we can be provided with full scholarships to pay for our tuition, it's still hard on us because of all the other expenses for food, gas, plane tickets, and all the other college expenses that a normal college student would have. Most people do not know that college athletes are not allowed to even have a regular job without special permission from the NCAA. So we have no income for our expenses outside of our sport. I'm here today to convince you that college athletes should be able to get paid for playing their sport. I'll discuss with you 3 points. How much money the NCAA and people make off of athletes. They have no source of income and nothing to compensate them for the time spent in their sport, and why they should be able to get money off of themselves, like endorsements. Let's start with talking about how much NCAA and others make off of student athletes. The NCAA, universities, and other people like gamblers and college merchandise stores make so much money off of athletes that are performing for free, receiving none of the money from which people pay to watch them or buy their merchandise. According to Steve Berkowitz with the USA Today, in the year 2017, for the first time ever, the NCAA brought in over $1 billion in their annual revenue. For only 1 year, the NCAA made over $1 billion on the athletes that received nothing but a free tuition. The NCAA is a non-profit company, which means they do not have to pay taxes on any of the money they receive. Every year, the NCAA has to distribute a certain amount of money to Division I programs, and in 2017, they gave $560.2 million to those members. After all their expenses, the NCAA paid that year, they were left with $399 million in net assets. With all the money that the NCAA makes off of the athletes, it is very unfortunate that none of the athletes receive a penny of the $1 billion that they make in 1 year. Although betting is illegal in most states, the amount that is bet on college athletics is staggering. According to Gillian Spears with NBC News, between $60 to $70 billion is illegally wagered on college football each year. She also says that the FBI estimates that more than $2.5 billion is illegally wagered annually on the 3-week March Madness postseason tournament each year, as well as sports book operators estimates $80 million to $90 million. Less than 4% of the illegal take is wagered on the NCAA tournament legally through Nevada's 216 sports books. That is a large amount of money to be wagered on college athletes. It just seems unfair that no college athlete will ever see a cent of that money. Although sports betting is hard to regulate, I think that athletes should receive at least some of the money that is regulated to compensate them for being used for the bets, or just make it legal to bet and have a lot of the money go towards the athletes. Universities also make a lot of money off of college athletics. In 2016, according to Court Gaines with Business Insider, Texas A&M made $192.6 million in revenue just off of sports alone. Noted that it is the highest out of all college programs in the United States. But another statistic from Gaines shows that of the 231 schools, 76% make less than $50 million in athletic revenues. And if we take it a step further, nearly half of the Division I schools, which is 44%, make less than $20 million. Though some of these schools do not make very much, any amount of money given to athletes would be a tremendous help. And I have a chart for the revenues generated by Division I athletics. You can see where Texas A&M is the highest, and then it goes down to half, and then that's where they make over $20 million a year just off of athletic revenue. Athletes spend a large amount of time every day in the sport they participate in and no way to make money. College athletes have no source of income while they're in college. Athletes are not allowed to have jobs unless asking for special permission from the NCAA to be able to work. The amount of hours an athlete spends a week in his or her sport is deranged. The NCAA has a lot of rules and restrictions on college athletes and the subject of working that normal students do not have to endure. According to Alexis Garcia, a writer for Reason.com, one of the rules of employment from the NCAA is the NCAA prohibits student athletes from working while their sport is in season. Athletes are not allowed to work in the summer, but must get permission from the school and the NCAA first. Then both the student athlete and their employer must regularly fill out paperwork to verify that the student athlete is in fact completing the work. I know this rule to be true because I had to sign the same contract that restricts me from having a job and making money to help me with college expenses. A college athlete, no matter the sport, puts in so many hours a week worth of work in practice games and extra work. A statistic given to us by Mark Edelman with Forbes says that the typical Division I college football player devotes 43.3 hours per week to his sport. That's 3.3 more hours than a typical American work week. I think that this statistic is crazy, the fact that an athlete puts in this much time and gets zero money out of the work except for a free tuition. Professional athletes make more money off of their endorsement deals than they do for actually playing their sport. According to the NCAA rules and bylaw 12.4.2.1, states that the student athlete cannot use his or her name, picture, or appearance to promote or advertise the availability of fee-for-lesson services. Athletes should be able to use their name and get money off of their likeness, at the least if the NCAA does not want to allow them to be paid. For example, a statistic given by Luke Christow with The Verdict: LeBron James makes $280 million just off of one endorsement deal with Nike. I think that if a player is good enough to make money off of their likeness, like selling jerseys with their name and being endorsed, then they should be allowed to do it. ESPN and other sports networking companies use specific players to advertise for games to get viewers, which produces money for the large corporations. For example, Zion Williamson is one of the biggest names in sports right now, professional or college. And he's used to advertise for every game Duke plays, and he'll receive no money from what the large corporations make millions and millions of dollars off of from their viewers. Athletes should be able to be paid for their likeness because of the money that other people and companies can make off of their names. My main points for you today for why college athletes deserve to be paid is how much money the NCAA makes and people make off of athletes. They have no source of income and nothing to compensate them for the time spent in their sport, and why they should be able to get money off of themselves, like endorsements. Now that I've explained to you why college athletes need to be paid, try to imagine how it would feel to have no source of income to buy food and other necessities in college. Imagine having a signed contract to say you will not work. College athletes need to have a source of income, especially for how much time they put into the sport and for how much money they make for the universities across the country. All I ask of you is to consider my points and think about how unfair the NCAA rules are on student athletes.